Hey guys, and welcome to another video. In today's video, we're going to be reading new releases. I'm so excited to finally get to this vlog. I've been wanting to read these books all month, honestly. So what we're going to be reading in this video, we'll be reading Half His Age by Jeanette McCurdy. Spoiler alert, I've already started it. I'm only like a page into it so far, so nothing too crazy, but I'm excited to get into this one. In Half His Age, we're basically following a girl who is in love with her teacher, and he might be in love with her back. She's not in college, y'all. And then we're going to be reading For Human Use. I'm so excited to read this one. This was a new release this year. This is essentially following humans who are having a hard time with dating, and so they start dating cadavers. I don't really understand how that works. It sounds like it sounds, which is yucky. So I'm not sure how that's gonna work, but I'm excited to get into this one. And then finally, one of my most anticipated books for this year is How to Kill a Guy in 10 Dates. This book sounds so cool, great, and a wonderful premise. It's a horror romance, which how and in what way? I'm so excited. Essentially, we're following our main character as she goes on a speed date, and while she's on speed dating, the power goes out and the power comes back on and someone's dead. And we're all running for our lives, and in the midst of running for our lives and trying to stay alive, she's still trying to find a date. So I'm really excited to read this one. It sounds like it's gonna be so fun. I'm just ready for something fun and silly, and this sounds like the perfect book. So if those books sound good to you, stay tuned, follow along, and I hope to see you at the end when we see how these books went. Y'all not gonna catch me looking extremely ugly, just a regular ugly. All right, hello team, welcome back. It is Monday, March 16th, and I have a update for you. Well, as you can tell, I'm still sick. I'm still not feeling great. I'm still tired, and I'm still over it. I made myself a nice hot mug of matcha, and it's a matcha latte, and I was just craving it this morning. I will say, so y'all know how I make my chai teas with the Tezo concentrate? Tezo also makes a matcha latte concentrate, so I tried to make one with that this morning. Yuck, guys, don't drink that. Don't even try it. It's disgusting. I made a matcha from scratch. Matcha powder, hot water, some agave syrup, and some oat milk. It's great. I'm having a great time. It's so warm and I need it. It's cold. This morning when I left, it was 40 degrees outside. Disgusting. Anyway, bookish updates. I have been reading Half His Age by Jeanette McCurdy. I started reading it last night, and I'm not very far, to be honest, but I made it to chapter 5, which is page 16. Y'all, this book is weird in the sense that, I've mentioned in my anticipated reads non-horror edition, this book is weird because we're following a child who falls in love, potentially, with her 40-year-old teacher. I believe he's an English teacher. And that's yuck. However, I will say that I've already started highlighting and annotating in this book because Jeanette McCurdy just has a way with writing. I just like the way she writes. And I think I'm gonna just become a Jeanette McCurdy stan, to be honest. If I find out she has a ghostwriter, I'm gonna be very sad. I'll be very sad if she's not actually writing these books herself, but it feels like she is because it feels like her. But you know how people be. But it's so good. It starts with her having sexual relations with a boy and her just not feeling it and talking about how she just doesn't feel it. She's just not connecting with it. She's not used to her body and she's not comfortable with her body yet. And there's a line in here where she talks about trying to become comfortable with her body. He tells her she's beautiful. He says, "So beautiful, your whole body is," and she says, "Thanks." I say again, hesitantly, "Maybe it is beautiful, my body. I wouldn't know, since in the 2 years that I've had this new version of it, I've been much more consumed with dealing with it than appreciating it. To all the girls who have been raised or came up in this patriarchal society and felt like you had to do all of these things to make your body presentable for other people, she's talking to us. I've been more consumed with dealing with it than appreciating it. And yes, like that's how I felt in high school as well. High school, middle school, when all this stuff started, I felt the same way. Shaving it or scraping it or strapping it in or exfoliating it or lathering it or shoving a coarse cotton plug into it. Always doing something to stop my body from doing what it wants to do. Oozing or bursting or bleeding, making too much hair in the wrong places and not enough in the right ones. Yes. I remember doing all of that when I was in school. I remember doing that into my 20s. I'm feeling like I had to like pluck and preen and scrub and do like all of this stuff to my body to make it presentable. Not for me, but for other people. I have since let go of that. I don't really subscribe to that. As you could tell, like I don't really wear makeup anymore. I used to wear makeup a lot, and I do still like makeup. I'm finding a different appreciation for it than I used to, where I used to feel like I had to wear makeup to look beautiful. Now I think I just look beautiful and makeup just enhances the beautifulness that I am. I used to pluck my eyebrows to God's end. I did the waxing, I did threading, I did plucking, like I did all of those things. For what? My eyebrows look great. I remember I'm trying to remember when this was. I wanna say it was like 5 or 6 years ago at this point. There was like this big blow up of like bushy brows, like sculpted bushy brows, where people were like literally drawing on their eyebrows to make them look fluffier and hairier and bigger. And I was like, that's the move? My eyebrows already look like that. So I just started wearing my natural eyebrows, and I would just put like clear brow gel on them to like lay them flat. I've since stopped doing that also, but that's what I did for a while. And I'm just like, I got away from my normal eyebrows because I thought that they were ugly, because I got told that my eyebrows were bushy all the time when I was younger, again, by boys. And so I was like, well, I have to like fix my eyebrows so that they look this way, because that's what's appeasing. That's what's acceptable. And so I was doing all like, girl, I can relate is what I can say. As an adult, obviously I'm an adult now. I'm not a high schooler or middle schooler, whatever age she's supposed to be. So like, obviously I can't relate now, but looking back at my time at this age, yeah, I could definitely say that I can relate to that. I also want to say that this book is called Half His Age, but she's in high school, I believe. She's starting her senior year of high school. He's 40. You're not 20. You're less than half his age. I understand pithy title, fun, catchy, whatever. You're less than half his age. You're 16, 17, and as a senior in high school, depending on your birthday, you're not half this man's age. You're not in your 20s. Because even then I would still be like, I also like, what does a 40-year-old man have in common with a 16 or 17-year-old? That's disgusting. Anyway, back to my book. I started highlighting things and tabbing things. Well, not tabbing. I don't like tabbing. Tabbing's annoying, by the way. It's just not for me. But I did highlight a section where she's talking about doing things online and buying things to make yourself feel better about yourself, and how just having this having this specific shade of blush is going to make everything better, even though you know that it's not. And she talks about checking out, and she's like, I click it and a combination of regret and excitement flushes through my body. And if that's not consumerism, I don't know what is. Like, we want this rush of happiness that we bought something, but then by the time it gets to us, like, we don't want this. We're not going to use it. We're never going to look at it. Like, most of the time, the things we buy, we don't even end up using to the extent that we expect we will, because we just have to have it. But then there's another part where we meet the teacher finally. What's his name? Mr. Corgi. And he's talking about how he's a failure, and that's what gets her attention. And that's where she starts just oogling and ogling over him, that like he's this amazing creature person that she's never seen before. But he is talking about something that I think is very interesting as a almost 35-year-old, where he's talking about settling, basically, how he settled in life and that he's a failure, that he's a teacher because he failed, because he was afraid of pursuing his own dreams because of all of the expectations and all the things he thought that other people would think of him, which is wild. But at the same time, I had resonated with that to an extent, and I think most people can. He goes through this whole speech, but at the end of the speech, I highlighted this part. I chose comfort over betting on myself. And yeah, I know instances in my life where I've done that. I did that when I was going to school and I was deciding what I wanted to go to school for. And I really wanted to go to school fresh out of high school. I wanted to go to Sam Houston University here in Texas, and I wanted to go for forensic psychology. That's the field that I wanted to be in. I wanted to do psychology, and I wanted to do forensic psychology specifically. And I went to the school and I did a tour of the school, and then the school was just kind of like, we don't know what classes what classes would you take? First of all, this is the problem with y'all having kids running your academic center. You need adults. You need adults who know what the heck they're talking about, so that when someone comes in and says, I want this career in my life, you can then tell them, well, this is the path that you would need to take for schooling here. And no one there could tell me. So that was discouraging. Excuse me, my neighbor's doing nonsensical things, if y'all can hear his stupid car. And then after that, we went, my mom was like, if you really want to go there, like, you're going to have to pay for the loans. You're going to have to keep your cruddy car that keeps breaking down on you. Like, there was a lot of things that were like, if you go, here's all the things you have to give up. And I chose having comfort instead of just going for the thing that I really wanted to do. My life could be so different if I had chosen to do that. I do believe that I still probably would have met my husband because he also went to that college. So I still feel like I probably would have met him somehow. But all that to say, I feel like that's something that I really do, like, I hate that I chose comfort. I chose a new car and the safety of home and my family financially supporting me through going to a community college for like my first 2 years, and chose that path instead of choosing to go to the university to do the thing that I wanted to do, to have the career that I wanted to have. So all that to say, I can relate to the choosing comfort over betting on yourself. I just thought that was really, really, really interesting. So then we go into another section where she's talking about, I didn't highlight this part because I just didn't, but she's talking about attractiveness versus being attracted to someone. And she's like, so I guess attractiveness and attraction are different things. Maybe what I feel in the past was appreciation for a good physique or a face or a haircut. And maybe this is attraction, something more primal that makes less sense. And I don't know that I agree with that sentiment. I think, again, she's a child. And so she's thinking through child's eyes and she's imagining things through a child's perspective because she's a child and she has no way of really understanding those feelings and those emotions because she's still going through puberty, y'all. Like, she's still getting used to her body. She's still getting comfortable with the things her body does and the machinations that it goes through. Like, no. She just doesn't know. But I thought that was very interesting. But then the last part here that I highlighted was she works at Victoria's Secret. We learned that as well. And she's talking to this woman who she's helped her fit for a bra. And this woman is talking to her about her boobs or whatever. And she's like, can I compliment you to your manager or someone? And she's like, well, there's a website you can go to on the bottom of the receipt if you want to, but like no pressure. She's like, don't say no pressure. Don't sell yourself short. I don't like when women sell themselves short. And she's like, oh, I'm sorry. And she's like, don't apologize. That makes it worse. Selling yourself even shorter. And then she asks her, let me ask you this. Do you know your worth? And she goes through this whole tirade about worth and what is worth and how do we determine worth of a human being. But the end I really liked. He said, but that all feels like too much to tell her. So I just nod my head and say, yeah, I think I do. And that resonated with me so much because I feel that so deeply in my bones when people ask how you are, or like, especially in the South, I don't know how it is up north, but in the South, there's the politeness of saying, hi, how are you? How are you doing? Just like being like nice, but like if someone asks you that, you don't go, actually, I'm doing really bad. I'm having a really hard time. Like, most people won't say that. They'll just say, I'm good. Thank you so much for asking. How are you? Like, most people aren't going to like throw their baggage on everybody. But I've had moments in my life, and I've even talked about this to one of my ex-coworkers who's now one of my friends. And I talked to her about like, you know, I hate when people ask how I'm doing and I'm not doing well, but I just have to pretend and say, I'm fine. Thank you. I'm okay. I'm good. How are you? When inside I want to cry. I want to burst into tears. I'm having such a horrible day. I want to scream, like, but I can't say those things. So at the end of the day, it's all too much. It's too much to tell people how you really feel. So anyway, I really resonated with that part. And I wrote, I always feel like I have to walk a thin line when people ask such deep questions like this, but all they actually want to hear is, I'm good. And that's true. So anyway, all that to say, y'all, I am enjoying this. Again, I really love her writing. I think she's a great writer. And if I find out she's got a ghostwriter, I'll be so sad. I'm telling you, I'm gonna be so sad. So all that to say, I am enjoying this book. Like I said, I'm only on chapter 5. This book is 273 pages. I truly feel like I could finish this today, especially with how much I'm eating up the writing. I don't think that I will, but I could. I feel like I really could. So yeah, this is my first book that I plan to read. I wanted to start with this one because it's shorter, it's smaller, quicker to read. So I wanted to just start with a quick win so that I could help build the momentum to get through 2 more books in the next 4 days. Half His Age, really enjoying it. Other than that, it is Monday. It is a work day. I am working, sadly. I wish that I wasn't, but I did get like bad good news, I guess you could say, that I was supposed to have a dentist appointment this Wednesday morning, and I called them because I obviously am sick. And I thought about it for like 7 seconds this morning that I was like, I'm sick. Are they even gonna be able to like work in my mouth if I can't even breathe out of my nose. And so I called and was like, hey, like I'm sick. I can't breathe out of my nose, and I don't know that anybody wants to be in my mouth when I'm sick. And she was like, oh no, you don't sound good at all. She was like, no, we would want to reschedule. So I have a half day off on Wednesday for no reason, and I'm happy about that. I think I'm going to keep it as a half day off in the morning and still take my daughter to daycare and spend that morning reading and doing YouTube things and maybe resting depending on how exhausted I am on Wednesday. Potentially see if my husband can take her to daycare so that I can sleep in on Wednesday, but we'll see. So anyway, that's where we're at. Obviously I didn't go this weekend to the bookstore, so I'm trying to decide if I skip posting on Wednesday and just post that video as an extra video next week, or if I switch videos around. I don't know. We'll see. We're gonna see. We're gonna play it by ear, but just be aware. After you've watched this, it's too late, but there probably won't be a video this Wednesday. We'll see. We need to get to work. I do have the audiobook for Half His Age, so I think I might put that on this morning while I'm working, and hopefully, put that on this morning while I'm working and hopefully get a good chunk of the way through it while I'm working. And I have like 3 hours left on Spotify, and this book is like a 4-hour book. So shouldn't take too long to get through. So I think that's what we're gonna do. Hopefully that way we can finish it today. I just don't know how well I'm gonna do with that because I want to stop and highlight and scribble all inside this book. So we'll see how that goes. But anyway, I think I've done enough rambling. I hope that y'all are having a great Monday, and I'll see y'all in a little while. All right, update on Half His Age. I am almost done, but I'm on chapter 67. This is such a good book. It is also disturbing because of obviously it being about grooming and all the things that entails with assault of a child and everything. Obviously that's not how our characters see it, but legally that's what's happening here. Technically, she is a minor. I guess it would depend. They're in Alaska. I don't know what the Alaskan rules are for the age limit. Regardless, she's 17 years old in this book, and she has her 18th birthday in the middle of them having I don't even want to say relationship, because it's just gross. Like, that's not what's happening here. She's literally being groomed by a man, and a grown man, a 40-year-old man. And she doesn't see it that way. She sees it as love, and she sees it as they're in love and all of these things. A minor spoiler is that she does tell a friend at some point in the book, and I'm happy that that chapter is in here because the friend does basically say, like, he's an abuser, he's grooming you, like, that's not okay. She does convince the friend not to say anything though, so that sucks. But she's even defending him when the friend's telling her that. So that speaks to like the state of mind that she's in. Again, though, she is a child, and there are moments in this book where she does call out the fact that like she can tell he's manipulating her in some way. And she's like, she does talk about at one point, like, how did I go from being the one that was upset and asking for demands, and then now he's the one in control of the situation and I'm trying to make him happy and appease him. And she's like, is he manipulating me? Like, she's specifically seeing it. She's recognizing it. And at one point there's a fight between the two of them where she's like not doing her schoolwork, and he's like, you need to do your work or I'm gonna fail you. And she was like, no, you're not. And she just left because she has this thing over him that he like, okay, fail me and see what happens is basically like what her threat was. So it's been very interesting to follow that. It's very frustrating because she talks about her mom in this book and about how her mom basically lives for men, and that her mom's whole thing is like the men make the sun rise and the sun fall for her. And so if a man is upset with her mom, then her mom will like go on a week-long depression bender where she won't do anything and she'll just sit at home all day, and she'll lose her job, and like all of these things will happen, and that her mom's just so obsessed with the approval of men and that she hates that that's how her mom is. But then she starts talking about like the advice that her mom gave her as a child about men, and it's silly things like, you know, make sure like if a man wants a drink, you make sure you do this and this and this. And if a man ever starts talking about something, you make sure you do X, Y, and Z. And she's like using those as points of reference now, where she obviously also points out in those moments that like, at the time I didn't understand why she was telling me that, but now I get it and now I understand. And I'm just like, girl, ugh. And like, it sucks because obviously she's supposed to be a child. She is supposed to be a 17-year-old. So it's like, I want to bestow on her more knowledge of like what's going on, and like how can you not see it? But at the same time, like, she is a child, and that's the whole point of these abusive relationships that children and grown men, and sometimes children and grown women, get into, and like how that really plays out, and how like that is the disparity. Like, they are children. They don't have all of the things that they need to be making good and effective decisions, and they don't understand, and they don't understand how they're being manipulated and how they're being taken advantage of. Even women in their 20s sometimes don't even understand that. So to like sit here and be like, oh no, like I want to shake her and be like, girl, no, but like, she's a child. You expect child behavior from a child because she's a kid. It's so frustrating. I'm hoping that there is a satisfying payoff at the end of this book. Like I said, I'm on chapter 67, so I'm 214 pages in, and there is 273 pages. So I'm almost finished. I will be finishing this today. And then once I'm done, I'll come back and update you about my final review. And then I plan to move on to How to Kill a Guy in 10 Dates next, because I need something lighter and fun because this is a lot. I've highlighted and highlighted and written annotations all through this book because, girl, what is going on? What is going on? Maybe I'll share some of them in my final review if they're not spoilers, but anyway, gotta go. I'll come back with an update later. Hello and good morning. It is Wednesday and we're getting, I think, behind on reading. I'm not gonna lie. Reading my book for my Jeanette McCurdy book took me a lot longer to read than I expected, so that's upsetting. I finished it last night though, so that's good. We are moving ahead, but it did take me longer, and I think part of that is because I was like annotating stuff and I was highlighting stuff, so I was like pausing my reading to kind of add that information in. Sorry y'all, I'm trying to figure out what this one tuft of hair is doing. It's quite annoying. Anyway, so because of that, I need to focus a little bit. Hold on. Just trying to make this like all cute and aesthetic and whatnot of me like making my breakfast, but that's not really what's happening because I can't talk and do things like this at the same time. I can talk and do some stuff, but not this. My Jeanette McCurdy reading took a lot longer, but I really did enjoy it. I had like an amazing time reading that book. I did finish it and I did enjoy it and I had a good time reading the book. I think the ending was a little more unsatisfying to me. I feel like it was also kind of realistic. So for what it was anyway. So it wasn't bad by any means. It was a good book. I just also feel like I wanted a little bit more of a satisfying ending than what we got. I wanted to see a better resolution to the story. I feel like the resolution wasn't as impactful as I would have hoped for, and that's kind of where I'm like, I don't know. Maybe not my favorite. I'll give y'all a more like official review here in a little while, because I kind of have a tight schedule this morning. I'm not working today, I'm not working this morning. And I plan to spend this morning just reading. And that was my plan. However, last night I was trying to figure out what I was going to do for my video that needs to go out today, because today's Wednesday, the Wednesday before this video goes out. on Sunday. And I came up with this idea that I think I want to do like a video essay. So I stayed up until like 11 o'clock last night, and which is also part of the reason why I'm not further in my reading, planning out that video and scripting it and doing a whole lot of informational research and idea processing and all of that to write the script and to be able to like perform my script this morning and hopefully get all my ideas and concepts across very clearly, so I'm not just like stumbling through a conversation. So I'm really excited about it. I don't know how y'all are gonna feel about it. I don't think that the video that I'm making is an original idea for the community. I'm almost certain that other people have made videos like this and about this topic, but I wanted to give my take and my opinion and my views and how I see it. And I don't know, hopefully it goes well and you guys like it. And if you don't like it, that's also okay. But if you do like it and it does go well, then maybe it's something I can do more often, because I really do enjoy watching video essays. It's one of my favorite things on YouTube at the moment. And your girl has a lot of thoughts and opinions and feelings. And I would love to try and make that knowledge and skill set that I have combine with the book community and kind of have more critical thinking around our community and how we are a community, or in some cases, not a community. We'll talk about that in the video too a little bit, and just like talk through some of those ideas. Obviously, I don't think this is something that I can do all the time. I think it's going to be like something I throw in every now and then, because I don't think there's enough topics in the bookish space to really do a bunch of video essays on, to be very fair. So anyway, that's my thought. That's how I feel. That's what I want to do. So with that, I'm on a tight schedule this morning. I thought I'd bring you along as like a little vlog bit to kind of show you what I'm doing today, since I don't have to work this morning. I was originally supposed to have a dentist appointment today, but I got sick, and so I had to reschedule the dentist appointment, because nobody wants to be in your mouth when you have snot running out of your nose. You know what I'm saying? Instead of, though, deciding to just work all day, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to take a half day. I've been sick all week and I've been pushing through it to work, and I was so tired. Obviously, I'm still tired. My night last night did not go well because my daughter woke up at like 3 in the morning, 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning, and was just having a really hard time going back to sleep, and didn't go back to sleep until like 4:30 in the morning. So husband and I are obviously very tired today because we're not used to being woken up like that in the middle of the night anymore. She usually sleeps through the night, so wanted to sleep in, but I can't sleep in because I have a limited amount of time to do all the things that I need to do this morning. So what I'm doing now, obviously, is making breakfast, and then after I eat my breakfast, I need to take my medication and my vitamins, and then we're going to take a shower, get into some like cozy gear, and go make my video essay. And I'm hoping that I will still have some extra time after that to also edit the video and potentially have it up on Wednesday the 18th. I might not be able to get all of that done because I do have to work this afternoon. And I have a harsh cutoff because I have to go pick up my daughter at noon. So I've got to leave the house by noon to go get her and then bring her back home, get her to sleep, and work from 1 o'clock to 4 o'clock. So, we'll see how it goes. And then, now it's 9:12 currently, so like 9:15. So I have until 12, so we've got less than 3 hours to do everything. I don't think my video is going to take me as long to actually record. The editing is the part that I'm worried about, because I have grand ideas on editing and things I want to do, and it's going to be very different. Like, it's going to be very, very different from my other videos. I don't know, I'm excited about it. I'm honestly excited about it, and I'm excited to make it. And that's what this channel is supposed to be. It's supposed to be me being creative and excited about making content that I like and that I enjoy and that I wish I could see in whatever community I'm a part of. So that's what I'm going to do. And we'll see if people want to come along on that journey with me. And if they don't, that's also okay. I don't think that's going to stop me from doing this, though, because I do enjoy it. Now, saying that prematurely when I haven't even made the video yet or worked on editing that video. So I'll come back and give you my feedback later this afternoon. Well, if it isn't the girl who lied. Y'all, it's been a week. I think I'm gonna have one of these weeks every month. I think that's just, it seems to be a pattern. It seems to be a pattern. We're behind. I'm struggling. My daughter is sick again. We just got over it this weekend and she's sick again. She's running fever. I took her to the doctor today. She is doing fine. She doesn't have any critical virus illness going on, just a regular child school bug. So with that, also I'm still sick. I thought I was getting better and now I'm worse. So that's really lame. Anyway, all that to say, I didn't post my video yesterday and I was hoping to have it edited today to post today. That didn't happen. And I don't know that it's going to happen tomorrow either. So I don't know, y'all. I'm feeling very womp about it, but I think I'm just going to keep trying to work on editing it, and I will just post it whenever I can post it. And if that just means that I have more than one video in a week or more than 2 videos in a week, then so be it. I think that that's fine. I could also save it, but I kind of want to just post this one. So anyway, to update y'all, like I said 2 days ago, I finished Half His Age, and I really did enjoy this book. Obviously, the concept is gross and yuck and all of those things, right? But there is some deeper conversation that I think this book can have and that people can have with it. I don't know that this is a book for everyone. I think I've already noticed that there's been a lot of you either love it or you hate it kind of reviews about this book, which I get, I understand. But I also think that this could be something that could open someone's ideal of some situations or make them think about things a little more critically when it comes to, they call it an age gap romance, but let's be real, it's predatory. It's child abuse. There's not really any other way to explain what is happening in here. So yeah, it was an interesting book. I think there was a lot of commentary and a lot of things going around the idea of trauma that you get from your parent or your mother, specifically her mom, and the things that her mom told her and the things that her mom did, and how she was like, oh, I can't believe my mom does this. I can't believe my mom's doing this. And then kind of just doing the same thing and not being able to see it as bad for herself, but seeing it as bad for her mom. So I thought that was really interesting, little piece that they added there. There's like the generational trauma type of thing that happens, and there is a moment where we think that there's an epiphany happening for both characters, and it falls flat, unfortunately. But I think the ending, while it was what I was wanting it to end like, it also was not as satisfying of an ending, because it just kind of leaves things in limbo in a way where I would have liked to have gotten a little bit more of like, here's what happened next. So, I ended up giving this 4.5 stars. It was not a 5-star feeling, but it was good. And I did enjoy it. And I thought the writing was really good. And like I said, I highlighted and wrote notes and stuff in here. I don't normally do that. So I thought that meant something. Now for an update on How to Kill a Guy in 10 Dates. This is everything I've ever wanted, ever. I'm not done, obviously. I'm only like 15% of the way in at this point, which means I'm also behind on reading about... We're probably not going to get to the other book. And that's just going to be what it is. But we're going to read this one and finish this one in this video for sure. All that to say, this is so good. I'm enjoying myself so much. I think it starts out really heavy-handed with all of the like horror rom-com throw-ins that it has, and like trying to tie things to horror movies or romance movies. It's very heavy-handed. It starts out very heavy-handed. It does lighten up. I will give it that. It does lighten up on that. And then I started appreciating it more when it did that. I love that I can, because I am a horror rom-com kind of girl. I wear black, but I also wear pink kind of girl. And so for me, this has been very satisfying because I know the rom-coms that she's referring to, and I know the horrors that she's referring to. And so I just really am enjoying it from that perspective. I'm also enjoying that we met all of the people in the book that we needed to meet, and I think that was really cool and fun. Now we're trying to figure out who the killer is. So I think that's really interesting. I don't know. I'm just very excited for it. I'm excited with how it's going so far. Our main character's name is Jamie Prescott. Scream reference, obviously. And her best friend, Lori. And they go on a speed dating thing. They want to do like social outings every month. And this is the one that they're doing at the time of this book setting. And so they're going on a speed dating thing, and it's 10 women and 10 men, and they spend 10 minutes together, and yeah, it's just like a regular speed dating situation. There's a scene that she has with one of her dates where she basically goes full on horror true crime girly and starts just like word vomiting about true crime and horror and all of these things, and it seems to put her date off. And I was just like, oh no, you did it too soon. Wait, you can't tell them you're weird that early. But yeah, it's really fun. I'm really enjoying it. I'm really loving all the references. So this is kind of reading a little bit more mystery, in my opinion, than horror. And the only reason I say that is because the horror is not that horrifying. I will say that when I bought this book, I found it in the romance section. So don't know that it's actually really billed as a horror. It's feeling more like a romance mystery. And I'm okay with that because I am still enjoying it. I think the only thing horror about it is the horror references. Kill scenes so far have been very bleh. There's not a lot of description. So for me, that's not very horrifying. It just doesn't have that horror ambiance to it, in my opinion. So anyway, really enjoying it. We'll finish this before the vlog is over. That just means that unfortunately we might not get to, what was the third book? Oh, For Human Use or whatever. I think it was Human Use. I think that's what it was called. So we might not get to that one, which low-key, y'all, I'm kind of okay with because I'm not really interested in, I'm not really sure I want to read a book about necrophilia. That seems, I don't know, it makes me uncomfortable a little bit. So I don't know. But again, we'll finish this book in this video and we'll see what happens with the other video that I've already recorded and just need to finish editing. And this weekend, I'm going with my sister to finally go book shopping. So very excited about that. and that video will be coming out next week, which is exciting. So anyway, that's my updates. Sorry I disappeared, but I'm back and hopefully we can keep this train moving. So I'll check in with you later. Hi. Update. I am still working on finishing How to Kill a Guy in 10 Dates. I should be finishing it, if not tonight, tomorrow morning. It's going well. I will say, again, I would say that this is not horror. I'm sorry, guys. It makes me sad to say, but I'm not gonna say that this is a horror book.
Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no.
This feels more like a mystery book than it feels like a horror book. Obviously there's murder and killing and things happening, but it ain't giving horror to me specifically. It is also giving very basic slasher. Unfortunately, I'm not getting any kind of unique story or vibe from this. It feels like something I've already watched, read, seen, whatever before. So that's kind of upsetting. And it's kind of becoming very predictable. The twists and turns, just kind of the things that you would get in a regular mystery thriller. The like, it's actually this person and this is actually the reason and this is what's actually happening. Like, I saw all of those things coming apparently before our main character saw them coming, which is surprising to me because she's supposed to be this all-knowing kind of girl. She is supposed to like have all this history and background on horror and what happens, and she uses a lot of the like tropes of horror to help keep them alive during all of this. At the very beginning of the book, there's like a list of rules that they read off to us about how to survive. So there's like 10 basic rules, all the things that you know if you've ever watched a horror movie. Don't have sex because the slut always gets killed first. Not derogatory, that's just how they make the movies. Always hide for longer than you think you should because inevitably you don't hide long enough and they're just standing there waiting for you. I'm looking at you, Scream. Find a weapon because ain't nobody ever got any kind of weapon. They're all just running around with nothing in their hands. Number 4, I don't agree with, but it says turn on the lights. She does give some stipulation to that in the story, in the book, as far as her like thought process on that. I don't believe in turn on the lights. You keep them lights off. Don't split up. Everyone knows that. If you know anything about horror, you know you're not supposed to leave the group. That's the stupidest thing you could do. Always watch your back. If you're not paying attention to what's happening behind you, they're going to stab you in the back. They're going to get you. Don't go up the stairs. Jesus Christ, don't run upstairs. Why are you running upstairs? There's no exit upstairs. Stop running up the stairs. That's the stupidest location to go to. Run outside. Run to a room with a window. Like, what are we doing? Never say, I'll be right back, because you ain't coming back. I'm pretty sure I'm looking at you again too, Scream. But they, like, this is, anyway. Always be sober. If they go down, that doesn't always mean that they're dead. You should always double tap, which, yes, that's also a la Zombieland. There you go. A la Zombieland. But like this, a lot of these rules are things that they talk about in Scream too, right? Like, not Scream 2, but Scream also, in addition to. In Scream, Stu, I'm pretty sure is his name. I can't remember right now, y'all. I don't feel well. Anyway, I'm pretty sure he talks about the fact of like, you don't do this and don't do that, and make sure, like, they talk about the rules of horror movies. And all of that to say, our main character knows all of these things. She's doing a freaking dissertation on horror movies, right? Like, she knows these things, and yet she's surprised by the certain reveals that are happening. And I'm like, girl, you clearly don't want to see things. Like, I don't know how else I can articulate that other than you don't want to see it. You want it to not be the thing. Because it's very obvious to me and some of the other people before you even figure it out. And that's crazy pants. So, I don't know. I especially like where I'm at right now, we just had a big reveal about one of the characters, and they're like asking this character like, who he is. How does he know certain things? And he reveals his occupation. And I'm like, duh. Y'all didn't know that from everything else happening in this book? Like, I could have told y'all that. The way that he talks about certain things, and the way that he did certain things, and the way that he engaged with certain things. Like, I could have told you. I could have told you that. I will say in the very, very beginning, when they're having their dates, and her and this person have their date, something happens in their date, and I was thrown off by it, and it immediately made me think that, like, it made me think something else. It made me think that this person maybe, like, had a loved one or something that died. But then, as the story keeps going, I'm like, oh, that's what's going on. Like, it's not that, it's this. And it is this. So, I don't know. It's very predictable. It's kind of making me sad. I was expecting a little bit more. I was expecting more gore for this being like a romance horror. At least that's how I interpreted what this was going to be. And like, it is fun, I guess, but it's not funny. I don't know. I don't know. It's just, it's feeling mid, which makes me sad. I was expecting more. Like I said, I will say in the beginning, this was very interesting and very fun, and I was having a lot of good times. But as the like story goes on, then you start realizing like, oh, it's just kind of regular. This is any horror movie you've ever watched with a group of people. Like, it is. Sorry, it is. There's nothing revolutionary happening in here. There's nothing interesting really happening in here. Also, I think everybody in this book is dumb because there's something that happens with one character and the character's gone, and no one really asks where she went, and no one really asks why she's gone and where she's gone. And like, they do at one point ask, but then it's like glossed over, and it doesn't make any sense because of a relationship that character has with another character in the book. And so you're like, y'all would have noticed that this person was gone a lot sooner, and y'all would have been making a bigger deal out of it than this. Like, it doesn't make any sense. So all that to say, I don't know. It's not giving anything revolutionary. I'm interested to see how it's going to end, and if it's going to end in any kind of like cool new way, if our love interest is going to live through it or die, because hey, it's a slasher at the end of the day. So does he actually make it to the end of the book? But I think that's the only thing that I'm actually invested in is does the main character and her love interest actually make it to the end of the book? That's really all I'm interested in. And it's not even from a perspective of like, I want to see them end up together. It's more of just like, will they, won't they? Are they gonna make it? Are they gonna survive to be able to make it to the end? So, I don't know, y'all. Like I said, I'm very much not feeling this. It's not as good as I was hoping it would be. I don't know, I guess I had really high expectations to give me something silly, weird, goofy of mixing a horror with a romance. Like, that could be so fun. This could have been so fun. But it's so regular. The thriller mystery part of this is regular. It's boring. I will say there's a map. We get a map of the area that we're in at the very beginning, and I was like, oh, that's cool. That's good to know like what the area we're in looks like. And then it makes more sense later on in the book as you keep reading why we have a map at the beginning. But I think it's really cool. Good things. What are some good things I can say about this? I think the horror references are really cool. There's horror references to like horror movies that are very popular that even if you've never watched a horror movie, you know what movie they're talking about. There's horror references to very obscure horror movies that you have to kind of be a horror lover to even know what they're talking about. I will say that the references are more of just like this trope, like from this movie. You know, like it's not so much that we're like using like a scene from that movie or some dialogue from that movie to like explain what's happening. It's very much just like, and you don't run upstairs, look, references to like this movie and that movie, and you don't, and I turned the corner and I shouldn't have because blah, blah, blah. Like it's just like a very like reference point, not anything more than that. The romance references are also very similar, referencing very popular romances that anybody would know, and some obscure ones that you have to be a romance lover to know, like rom-com specifically, to know what they're talking about. Every chapter also starts with like a really cool thing. It has a quote at the start of every chapter that is a quote from a romance, but they switch some of the words to make it sound like a horror movie. And I think that's really cool. So the first quote in the first chapter it's a quote from The Holiday, but the quote is, "I suppose I think about murder more than anyone really should. I am constantly amazed by its sheer power to alter and define our lives." And it says, quote, "not The Holiday." And it's because they change it to be about murder, killing, and still, I think that's really fun. I do like that. They have them at the beginning of literally every chapter, and I just think it's really cool. Like, they did one for Sweet Home Alabama, which is a controversial movie in my opinion, but I do like it. And the quote is, "Why would you want to murder me for anyhow, so I can kill you anytime I want?" And I just love that. And that's sad, by the way. That's sad that the quotes at the beginning of the chapter are the parts that are fun to me. We got love and basketball. "I'll kill you for what? Your heart." That's good. That's just gold right there. I don't know. I think the intro quotes are really fun, and it's a good like palate cleanser between chapters as well, because again, y'all, it's boring. I'm bored. I don't want to be bored, but I am in fact bored. So anyway, it's 10 o'clock now. It's Saturday. I went out today with my sister, and we went to go to do thrift book finding. I found books. We'll say that. You'll have to wait for the video to see what books. I'm not going to tell you what books I got. But we also did stop at Barnes & Noble after we went through all of our thrift stores, and I found one of my anticipated horror releases, and I'm so excited. Turn Off the Light by Jackie Walters. I read Dearest by Jackie Walters. This was a debut novel by Book of the Month. It is one of the only Book of the Months that I've really liked thus far, to be honest. But y'all, I highlighted in this book because I was just having a good time reading this. Dearest was about a woman who just had a baby. She's alone. Her husband's not with her. She literally just had a baby, and she's navigating being a new mom, not being able to sleep, not being able to do all these things with a newborn, like just navigating the life of being a new mom. And at the time that I read this, I was a new mom, and I was not able to sleep, and I was having a hard time, just all of the things. And so this book really hit at that point, mostly the beginning. The end, obviously not, because the ending of this book is very sci-fi woo-woo kind of thing, and obviously that's not realistic to my life. But the beginning has talking about like her thoughts about the baby and what she was doing and all of that. Like, it hit so hard when I read it. So really love this book, and ever since then I'm like, anything Jackie Walters writes, I want to read it. So we got another Jackie Walters, and this is Turn Off the Light. So I'm very excited about this one. The synopsis is: the devil enters through doors left open. On the isolated eastern shore of Virginia, Edith is a healer, a woman of knowledge, and a woman watched. Shadows move where they shouldn't. Whispers creep through the dark. Terrified that she has opened her home to the devil, Edith makes a desperate choice. Claire doesn't believe in ghosts, and so she returns home to care for her dying father and finds her childhood house listening. As one sleepless night bleeds into the next, she becomes convinced that something is stirring beneath the floorboards, something that has waited a long time to rise. Is the house haunted? What compels this lurking darkness? As the danger mounts, Edith and Claire will discover that they'll need each other to survive, but they are separated by 400 years, and time is running out for them. And y'all know I like a time split. You know I like a time split. So I'm excited for this. This sounds so good. I hope that it is actually as good as I want it to be, because again, I've only read one book by this author because that was her debut, which I loved. So I'm hoping that this one will be just as good, and maybe she can become a favorite author that I read anything she releases. But I got this today, so I'm very excited about it. I got some other horror books, but I don't want to talk about them. But I did get one from my thrifting that is also a time jump. So very exciting about that. But yeah, So that's really all I have. It is 10 o'clock, like I said. I am tired. I'm not feeling well. I had a great time running around with my sister, don't get me wrong, but I'm exhausted. I feel very, very tired. Unfortunately, my daughter woke up in the middle of the night last night at 4 o'clock in the morning, and so I was up with her for like an hour. And then I struggle to go back to sleep when I'm woken up, so it was a little hard for me to get back to sleep. So I didn't even fall back to sleep until like 5:30. I also didn't go to bed until midnight last night, and so because I was trying to read as much as I could of my book, so I'm just really, really tired. So saying all of that, like caveat to say that I don't know that I'm going to read anymore of How to Kill a Guy in 10 Dates tonight, and I think I'm going to finish it tomorrow because I want to go to bed. I just want to snuggle up in my bed in my pajamas, cozy and snuggly, and go to sleep. One final rant. I am struggling with how to read every book that I have that I want to read. I have so many books that I want to read and only so much time in a day to read them, and it's making me mad. Because I want to read all of my books. I want to read every single one of them at one time. And life be lifin', and so I don't have time to read every book that I want to read all the time. And that makes me sad. I have some really good books that I got today from the thrift store and from Barnes that I really want to read, and I'm not going to be able to read them anytime soon because I don't have time to read every book that I want to read all the time. I just have so many books that I want to read, and there's not enough time in the day to read them. I wish I could quit my job and I could just be a reader. I would love that. If I could do nothing but read all the time, I would have the best time. My life would be so good. I would enjoy every moment of my life. If all I get to do was read, like, come on. That's the dream. Oh, that's the dream. Anyway, I'm gonna go. I'll see y'all in the morning with an update. How to Kill a Guy in 10 Dates is killing me. It's really not that bad. It's just not that great. And I just had really high expectations. So anyway, I'm gonna go. I'll see you in the morning. I mean it this time. Hello. As you know, I'm late, okay? This weekend kicked my butt. Yesterday, I basically spent all day in bed, sleeping most of the morning. I still don't feel great. I think I might have like a sinus infection or something. I don't know. I'm not feeling it today. I don't know what's going on with me. But regardless of that, I did finish reading How to Kill a Guy in 10 Dates. And look, here's the thing. The romance in this is very cute. I enjoyed the romance, especially the end. Loved it. The mystery, thriller, horror of it all. One, there is no horror in this. You're not going to convince me that this is a horror at all, not even a little bit. There's literally not one bit of gore outside of like, that's not true. There is like a little bit, but it's like barely described. That's the problem that I have. The scenes of gore are like enough to let you know that something happened. Like there's even parts where they're like, I'm not even going to describe it. Just know that they're dead. And I'm like, okay, why? Like, I thought this was supposed to be horror. And I'm assuming that the author is trying to appease more of the romance people than the horror people with this, which makes me sad because I really wanted to see horror. Like, I really, really wanted to see it. But all that to say, like, it was a good book. I did enjoy it for what it was. I will say that the twists were not, they were not twisty for me. I knew from, like, the beginning what was going to happen, who was who, and how it was playing out. I already knew. Yeah, I wasn't shocked. I wasn't surprised. I had a feeling about one of the characters from I wouldn't say the very beginning, but once the action started, this character, I just knew. I don't want to spoil it because if you want to read this, I don't want to spoil it for you. But I will say, I guess if you're someone who likes to read mysteries, or you're new into mysteries, or you're new into romance, this might be fun. This might be a good fun read for you. If you're someone who has read probably, I would say, more than 10 mysteries, if you're someone who watches a lot of mystery, thriller, horror things, like even if you watch it, like even if you don't read it, if you watch it and you're pretty good about being able to discern what's happening before it happens in those movies, this isn't for you. You're not going to be satisfied. I'm not satisfied. I can tell you that right now. I felt disappointed by it because I was able to guess it so quickly and so easily. That was not what I wanted at all. I wanted it to be unexpected. I wanted it to be unconventional. I wanted it to be completely different. And it's not. It's not different at all. It's just like every other book I've ever read. Other than the fact that it also contains a romance while all the killing stuff is going on, which was cool. I did like that aspect of it. I just wished it was more. I wish that I had more. I liked some of the references, like I said, to like the horror and romance tropes and the horror and romance movies. But outside of that, like the story itself, meh, just meh. There's a lot of pieces that I'm just like, if that happened, everyone would be suspicious. If something like this happened, everyone would be suspicious. And that happens multiple times in the story. Like it happens so many times. It's not even funny. Multiple times. So I don't know, y'all. I'm sad because I wanted this to be everything to me. And I think, honestly, it's like a 3-star. That might be generous, to be honest. But I feel like 3 stars because I did enjoy some aspects of it. I enjoyed it in the beginning, and I enjoyed the romance. That's like a third of the book. And that's it. Everything else, I was just kind of like, meh. Like, by the time I was getting to the end, that's why I think it took me so long to finish, is because I was like, I already know what's happening. Like, I already know what's going on. I already know who the people are. I already know it. So anyway, there's that. That was that book. I am kind of kicking myself because now I'm like, I wish I had read For Human Use instead, because maybe that one's the winner. But it's okay because I think I'm going to do another anticipated reads vlog because I do have another book that was an anticipated read for this year. So I think I'll just do another vlog for that next month where I read 2 more anticipated reads from 2026. So I think that'll be good. And that'll allow me to find out if I should have read that instead of this. So thank you guys for joining me. We read How to Kill a Guy in 10 Dates and we read Half His Age. 2 vastly different books. One was better than the other. And I had an overall good time with these. I wish that I wasn't as sick and disgusting as I feel, because that probably would have been a better situation for me, but you know, it is what it is. I do have some more videos coming out after this one. Last week was it was terrible. So I'm going to make up for it. I promise. I'm going to have extra videos this week. On top of this, I'm going to try and have 2 more videos out this week. And next Sunday's vlog is going to be the Twisted Retreats vlog, episode 2, where I read 2 more Twisted Retreat books from my subscription box. I think, y'all, if that video doesn't do well for me ratings wise, I'm gonna go ahead and cancel my Twisted Retreat subscription. Anyway, thank you guys so much for joining me. I hope that you enjoyed this vlog. Sorry there wasn't a lot of like B-rollish stuff, and I'm sorry that it took forever, but you know, here it is, and I hope you enjoy it. If you did like it, please don't forget to like and subscribe. I would love to have you in my little bookish community. I need you. You want to be here. Let's freaking do it. Let's go. And if you've read either of these books, let me know. If you want to read them, also let me know. And I think that's pretty much it for today. So I'll see you guys in a few days / next Sunday. And I hope y'all have a great day and a great week. Bye.